Hey, it's Chandler with White Bear PR again, here for our Composer Chats by the Fireside at Sundance Film Festival. I'm here with Patrick Jonsson, who has the film Scrapper at the festival. Welcome, Patrick. How are you doing?
Hello.
How are you liking the festival?
Yeah, great. It's amazing. Lots of snow, which you kind of hope that it's like really snowy and really Sundancey. It's been amazing. Seen really good films, and everyone's really great.
Yeah? What have you seen? What have you liked?
I watched a movie called Animalia, which was really cool. Also watched another one yesterday. I think it's called Shaida. I think that's how you pronounce it, and really interesting. And yeah, got loads more on the list. Excited. It's still early. Only saw a couple so far, but
Nice.
yeah, trying to
nice.
squeeze in as many as I can.
So, what's your advice if somebody wants to take the most advantage of seeing films at the festival? How do you navigate the Sundance Film Festival?
I don't know. I find it a bit tricky because you're sometimes just judging on a photo and like the title of a film or something, unless you've heard something specific. So, but then you hear like a bit of buzz around certain films, and you're like, basically, if I hear anyone say anything about a film, then I'll sort of gravitate towards that. And so, but yeah, advice on that front: just watch as much as you can, because you never know what you might stumble into a real gem and stuff. Because everything here is going to be good. Basically, I would say.
Absolutely. Have you been to a festival in the past where you saw a great film and then you were able to meet the director or somebody involved with the film later and kind of form a relationship?
Yeah, actually, interestingly, I watched. I went to a screening one time of a short film of a friend of mine called Rob Savage, and he's now gone on to direct bigger things. And at that time, I watched his film, and I was like, oh, I would love to work with you and stuff like that. And we went on to have like a working relationship after that. And I just finished a film of his, and I think it's a great way actually to see if you connect with the people that because it's easy, you can talk about the creative stuff, but until you see someone's film or you hear the music, like that's a real like opportunity to see like, oh, that really resonates with me, and then you gravitate towards the people that you sort of have a kinship with, I guess. So I think there's probably a lot of examples like that.
Now, your film Scrapper, it's about to premiere at the festival. Are you excited, nervous? What do you think?
Both. Nervous, excited. You always, you don't know how people are going to react, but I think they're hopefully going to like it, and it's a great film, and yeah, so excited. The premiere's tomorrow, and I think all the screenings are sold out except for one.
Wow.
So that's good news.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been getting a little bit of buzz around the festival, and people are excited whenever I talk about it, so yeah.
Nice. Can you say a little bit about what the film's about?
Yeah, it's about a young girl. Her name is Georgie. She's 12, I think, in the film. And she recently has lost her mom, and she was living alone with her mom at the time. And so she's sort of like, she's quite independent, even though she's so young. And so she's like dodging social services and stuff like that, and like pretending like she's living with someone who's taking care of her, but she's actually alone. And but then after some time, her father, who she hasn't seen since she was born, basically, decides to come back into her life and have a relationship with her. And it's a really beautiful story about how their relationship blossoms. And obviously she's very skeptical at first. But it sounds like it's a heavy story, and it has a lot of sort of like very real emotions, but it's also really warm and funny, very funny film.
Love it. How was it working with the director, Charlotte Regan?
Yeah, she's the best. She's awesome. And she's super talented, knows what she wants, but it's like really open and collaborative, and it gives you so much freedom. And yeah, no, she's so great to work with. Like the film like tells you what it wants in so many ways, but also like we tried to be quite explorative in terms of like pushing ourselves to try and tell it in the best way that we could. And yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about Charlotte. She's the best.
What's an example of some direction that she gave and that you were able to apply it into the score?
Well, so I don't want to give too much away about the plot, but there's a scene towards the latter half of the film where there's like a voice note that's from her mom, and she had this great idea of like, why don't we grab that and sort of like create this like rhythmic loop out of that voice note and make a rhythm out of it, that the music clearly feeds off of. And so it becomes like, because you hear it once, you're like, what's that? You hear it twice, what's that? But then you start to hear it as this like looped figure. And so my main thing was like, that's a great idea, I want to explore, but I want to make sure that it's unintelligible, that it feels like it's the same fabric of what we're going to hear, so it's like a foreshadowing, but that we can't discern what's being said yet,
right?
If that makes sense. So that it still feels like music, and hopefully we managed.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about film music is that, you know, it's one thing to have an album of music, but film scores can pull on situations like that, where there's something that happens in the narrative that somehow affects into the score.
Yeah.
And I think that's always really exciting. Is there other examples you can think of in your line of work where the impact or the subject of the film influenced the score?
Yeah, well, I mean, even on this film, like, I feel like that's always one of my like ways into a film. It's like looking for little things like that, like looking for clues as to like what limitations we can set ourselves so that we can create like a palette that's sort of like unique to that film, and like it's stuck to the fabric of the film and can't really, it's like inextricable. And on this one, like again, I don't want to give away too much of that thing, but she builds this like tower out of all this like scrap metal and old bicycles and all this kind of stuff. And so one of the percussionists who was gonna do percussion for me, I sent him a photo of the tower that she builds and said, this is what it sounds like, this is what it needs to sound like. And so metal became this like really interesting thing that we drew upon, because it's like directly from the film, but more importantly, it's directly linked to Georgie's sort of grief and emotions and her way of overcoming, you know, in her little 12-year-old mind, the things that she's sort of like battling with.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to see the film. It sounds fascinating. What's coming up next for you?
Well, I just did a film called The Boogeyman, which is completely different stylistically. It's a horror film directed by Rob Savage, who I talked about earlier, and it's produced by 21 Laps and and 20th Century Studios, and it's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
So-
I can't wait to see that. What is the next thing you're looking forward to at Sundance? What's your next kind of agenda item?
I'm looking forward to hanging out with the film team, celebrating, not having too much of a set agenda of things to do, but also like I want to catch as many films as I possibly can, because that's a good opportunity to meet people, and also just like something that I don't get to do all the time is to watch, because not all of these films are then going to make it out. I mean, I'm sure they will because it's Sundance, but like it's a good opportunity, I think, to see really interesting work.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me on our fireside chat.
Thank you.
And can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you.